This upgrade to Adagio Inventory 9.3a has an enormous number of changes to improve transaction entry and history. A summary of the most important changes will be shown here, with a more detailed presentation available by following this link to a separate Show Me How training video. Previously, transaction entry was generally restricted to one user at a time. Now, all transactions in inventory can be entered by multiple users concurrently and prevent two users from accessing the same transaction. All transaction types now allow saving entries without having to immediately post them. This allows for greater audit control, ease of use, and additional features. A listing report is available for each transaction type, which can be printed either directly from the transaction window for a range of selected records, or from the Transactions menu and the Type flyout menu, or from the Reports menu and the Transaction Reports flyout menu. The report lists the selected group of transactions, sorted either by reference or date, with ledger activity included if selected. Filters can be created for each transaction type to display only those transactions you need to see, or apply color coding to the records in the grid. Because receipts can be entered without posting, a new Entered status is available to indicate this, different than posted receipts that continue to have an active status, and completed receipts that can no longer be adjusted. When entering a transaction, the information is now displayed differently, with a header area at the top for information about the entry, and a grid that stores detailed information about each item as a collection within the entry. The 24-character reference can be set to auto-generate a value based on company profile options for each transaction type, including an incrementing sequence number and additional information such as user ID or date that can be inserted with format codes. If Adagio Doc Store is integrated, PDFs can be attached to any transaction entry and can be viewed here or from the transaction list grid. Reason codes and descriptions can be entered for all transaction types to track the purpose, and transaction optional fields for extra information. When adding an item detail to a transaction and choosing the item number to use, there are a few new changes. The item description is editable and can be added to the detail grid as a column for display. All transactions support a full item inquiry from this screen, with or without the cost information, depending on security settings, rather than a limited set of item information. When you save a new detail on a transaction, you may want to add another item immediately, which is now easier with the user preference for Auto Add Detail. And depending on the type of transaction, you can see total amounts for each entry at the bottom of the screen, or as columns on the grid. For shipments, you can see the total price and cost. For other transactions, you can see the total cost and quantity, where the quantity does not account for unit of measure calculations, but simply sums the values for the entry. When you are ready to post transactions, it is possible to multi-select transactions from the grid, even if they are not consecutive. You'll be prevented from posting a transaction that is edited by another user. When posting is complete, the transaction audit list can be printed, with the ability to see results for just the most recent posting sequence, or any other posting sequence range. All postings done prior to conversion will be in Sequence 1. You will no longer be given the choice to purge the audit list after posting, as the option in the company profile has been removed. Now, clearing the audit lists will follow other Adagio programs and only occur during year-end processing. After conversion, a new function is available from the Edit menu and the Item Maintenance submenu to create barcodes for scanning. For each inventory item, you may store multiple barcodes with different units of measure, or even the same item and unit, but with alternate descriptions. If you have many barcodes to enter, there is an import process to assign barcodes to items. Similar to manual entry, you can set the unit of measure and an optional alternate description, and have multiple barcodes for an item. When barcodes have been created, this reveals the values within Item Editing or Inquiry. For Item Inquiry, they can be found on the Vendor's Barcodes tab. When editing an item, barcodes can be found on the Units tab at the bottom of the screen. Not only can you see the barcodes, but you can edit or delete existing barcodes, or add new ones, if security access to barcodes is allowed. Whenever the item field has focus, either in Adagio Inventory or other programs that support barcoding, using a scanner to read a barcode will fill in the item number if the value is found in the barcode list. If the screen also has either a unit of measure or item description, these will also be filled in from the barcode record. In some cases, using the scanner will not only insert the item information, but also close the screen. Editing physical inventory also supports barcode scanning. Not only can you edit a specific physical inventory record and scan a barcode into but you can also scan directly into a new barcode field at the top of the screen without having to edit the desired item. When the barcode is scanned, the item number count for that unit of measure will be incremented by 1, with a pop-up screen indicating that the scan was successful. This will save time when scanning barcodes for the counts. The transaction history file now has new and updated information for better custom reporting and inquiry. The reference field has been expanded to 24 characters, and the transaction type is now based on a unique combination of the source and type to make custom reports easier to create. Many new fields are available for keeping additional information. Transactions that came from Adagio purchase orders or order entry will have original document numbers separate from the reference. The item description may be displayed as well as the item number. Customer and vendor names can be included on the grid with the respective number. Last edited and posted by user, date, and time are stored for audit purposes. Unit cost is stored with both 2 decimal and 4 decimal values. A movement quantity field shows the transaction quantity relative to how the stock quantity on hand was affected, as opposed to just the transaction type. And the new transaction optional fields are maintained here. You can now open a drill down for historical transactions by double-clicking on the row, or highlighting a record and clicking the View button. Selected information will be shown here, including application-specific fields from the header section, and ledger accounts affected by the transaction. When using Adagio Doc Store, PDFs attached to purchase orders, order entry, or invoices documents can be viewed from the highlighted grid or the drill-down screen. And running Process Soft PDF to Doc Store will populate the document links for transactions posted prior to installing the upgrade. Importing transactions follows all the same rules as manual data entry, so changes have been made to accommodate the new transaction process, including new fields such as overriding the master item description. When using DocStore, you may include the header Attach PDF field to link a PDF to the transaction. And if the PDF no longer needs to be kept in the original folder after attaching, you may choose to delete the PDF file from the source folder upon a successful import. For importing either shipments or receipts, you now have the option to immediately post all the transactions after import, if no errors were found. Other transaction types will be imported, but not posted. Whether or not you use the Adagio Bill of Materials add-on, you may now import assembly transactions in the same way as other transactions. From an Excel or CSV file, you can specify the information for creating one or more assemblies, just as if they were manually entered. If you use the Bill of Materials add-on, the additional fields will be revealed for import. If you are using the most current version of Adagio Invoices 9.3a, there is an option to create a file either for importing or retrieving shipments when invoices are posted with inventory items. If you choose to import, the template has a special Invoices doclink field that is reserved specifically for DocStore attachments from Adagio Invoices. If you choose to retrieve, an option is available from the Maintenance menu when a file is ready to retrieve. A few changes have been made to items in this release, but they are limited to keep the data structure unchanged. On item grids, there are two new calculated values for displaying the total cost and the average cost, so you don't have to view the item in order to get this information. This information is also possible to include in grid view views without using calculated columns, when you use the new table for inventory items with grid view. When integrated with Adagio DocStore, you can attach PDFs directly to items and view them from the grid, or when editing or viewing the item. From the Purchase Orders tab of Item Inquiry, you can view PDFs for either current or historical documents in Adagio Purchase Orders. On the Vendors tab, new fields for primary and secondary vendor descriptions have been included so that this information can be printed on purchase order specifications. Read the complete list of features and changes from the release notes. Watch another video on this Adagio program from the playlist, or subscribe to the Adagio YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.